Hello everyone, welcome to World Mapping Series with me, Indrajeet Bariar, the Faculty of Geography GS and Geography Optional at Rouse IAS Bengaluru. So in this World Mapping Series, the first video we have done about the continent that is North America, effectively Anglo-America. And now in the second video of this series, today we are going to cover the continent that is South America. So as we know, first let's talk about some of the basic facts regarding this continent that is South America. So over here what we see, the latitudinal and longitudinal extent of South America, wherein if you see South America as a continent latitudinally extends from 11 degrees north to 56 degrees south roughly, which means this continent is spread over northern as well as southern hemisphere. On the other hand, if you talk about the longitudinal extent of the continent, 35 degrees west to 88 degrees west, now you can say this whole continent lies completely in the western hemisphere. In terms of size, this is the fourth largest continent of the world, and we know that the first three largest continents in the world now would become Asia, followed by Africa, followed by North America. So now we have the four largest continents of the world to be Asia, Africa, North America, and now South America. In addition to that, this continent is the fifth most populous continent in the world. These are some of the basic facts. Now, from the political aspect of the continent, if we try to learn, what we'll be able to see first of all is the idea that South America is a part of the linguistic division of Americas, which becomes nothing but Latin America. So whole of the Americas we divide into Anglo America and Latin America, and this is the linguistic division. So we are saying over here that the Latin America is dominated by Latin languages. Now we have to understand this whole continent. It was primarily conquered by the people from Iberian Peninsula of Europe, which becomes Portugal and Spain. And if I divide overall the idea of Latin America, the complete South America, the eastern coast of South America was conquered by the Portugal, but the rest of the South America had been mainly conquered by the Spanish. So in this conquest, if you see in South America, the Indian tribes here historically had established some very powerful civilizations and empires. And the three most important ones has been the Inca Empire, has been the Aztec Empire, and has been the Maya Empire. Now, if we look at them one by one, what you will see is the Inca Empire, and this Inca Empire primarily developed along the western coast of South America. Now, in this case, this Inca Empire, you can see the most important data over here, that is the Spanish conquered it in 1572. So 1572 was the year when Spanish conquered Inca Empire. Similarly, the second one, which is the Aztec Empire. Now, this Aztec Empire developed in and around Mexico. And again, if you see, it was conquered by the Spanish in 1521. So over here, the Inca civilization 1572, whereas the Aztec Empire, which becomes 1521. And then comes the third one, which has been one of the most popular civilizations of South America, which has been the Maya Empire or Maya civilization. So Maya civilization, highly developed civilization, but yet the Spanish. So this Maya civilization was centered around the Central America, and again the Spanish conquered it in 1697. So throughout, if you see, during this time, all the three major civilizations or empires of South America, they were conquered by Spanish. And that's where you see majorly dominant language in South America to be Spanish, and of course the eastern coast of South America was conquered by Portugal, so Portuguese again is a language. Take for instance in Brazil. So that's where we identify the idea behind this whole region being called as Latin America. So now Latin America comprises whole of the South America, in addition to that the parts of Central America and up to Mexico. This is whole of the Latin America. Now looking at the political aspect of South America, what I see is majorly 12 sovereign states. So South America comprises of majorly 12 sovereign countries. So which are these countries over here? What you find, the first one to be Colombia, second one over here which becomes Venezuela, the third one over here which is Ecuador, the fourth one over here which is Peru, fifth one Chile, sixth one Argentina, seventh one Bolivia, eighth one Brazil, ninth one Paraguay, 10th one Uruguay, 11th one Guyana, 12th one Suriname. These are 12 sovereign countries of South America. Over here you see the equator passes from here, which becomes 0 degree. And so if you see a very popular question in UPSC, the equator passes through. In here you see Colombia, Ecuador, Colombia and Brazil. These are the three countries through which the equator passes. That's the one aspect. Second aspect to the political idea is Brazil, which is the largest country by area in South America, that is Brazil. Apart from that, only two countries over here, that is Bolivia and Paraguay, are the countries of South America which are landlocked countries. Then apart from that, so 12 sovereign states done. After that we have two dependent territories. Now two dependent territories, the first territory over here is this one which is called as Falkland Island. So first one over here becomes Falkland Island, and second one would be roughly lying somewhere over here now, which is called as South Georgia and South Sandwich Island. So these are the two dependent territories. And what do we mean here by dependent territories? These are nothing but United Kingdom's overseas territory. And when you say dependent territories, primarily for both of these territories, they have their internal sovereignty or internal autonomy. They have their own governance system. But UK takes up the responsibility of their defense and their foreign affairs. Apart from these two subjects, these two countries have complete independence in terms of the governance structure. So that becomes the two dependent territories. And then you have one internal territory. And this internal territory over here, you see, is this one, which is a French Guiana. French Guiana. This is a French territory or French department outside mainland of France. So that becomes an internal territory. So that's now what is the political aspect related to the continent, that is South America. After that, next now moving on to the physical aspect, and so we are talking about the physiographic divisions of South America. Now, physiographic divisions of South America, what we may see over here as the physiographic division, the first one, which is called as the Cordilleras of Andes. Now, Cordilleras, you know, Cordilleras simply are a series of mountains or mountain system. So the Cordilleras of Andes over here, I'll be able to demarcate it something like this. So this becomes the first one, which is the Cordilleras of Andes. Then I have the second division, which is called as the Central Lowland, and a third division, which is the Eastern Highlands. So first, let's mark over here the Eastern Highlands, and Eastern Highlands are spread over two parts, which roughly becomes this. So this becomes third Eastern Highlands. So whatever is remaining now, okay, that becomes what you call as the Central Lowlands. And then you have the fourth division, which is called as the Central American Mountains and Plateaus. So Central American Mountains and Plateaus are located in Central America, Mexico, and around that we'll see later, not in this map. But yet, overall, Latin America, if you are talking about, you have 4 physiographic divisions. If you think of South America as a continent, you have 3 physiographic divisions: Cordilleras of Andes, Central Lowlands, and Eastern Highlands. So in this case, now let's talk about these physiographic divisions one by one. The first one, which is the Cordilleras of Andes. So the Cordilleras of Andes, the spread of Cordilleras of Andes, you can see over here to be something like this. This is the Cordilleras of Andes. Now for these Cordilleras of Andes, to understand, first of all, I can divide it somewhere roughly by 20 degrees south latitude. So with 20 degrees south latitude, what you see is to the south of 20 degrees south latitude, what I find is this whole mountain present in the form of single mountain chain. But to the north of 20 degrees south latitude, I find this mountain chain, that is Andes, to be bifurcated into 2 branches, one eastern branch, okay, moving like this, and one western branch moving like this. So this is how it moves over here in this part. And so over here, it encloses the 2 branches of Andes which are there. It encloses within it a number of intermontane plateaus. A very, very important aspect over here. And so with these intermontane plateaus, I find a lot of plateau regions of the countries, that is Bolivia and Peru. So Bolivian highlands, Peruvian highlands, they have been formed because of this bifurcation of Andes into 2 branches, and in between them existing the intermontane plateaus. So over here, the Andes, first of all, the important facts about Andes is the first fact, that is it is the longest fold mountain chain in the world. Is the longest fold mountain chain in the world. Apart from that, now if we talk about some important mountain peaks over here. So in these mountain peaks, the important ones over here, I find first of all 2 peaks in Ecuador. Now in Ecuador, the 2 peaks which are there, then let's number them 1 and 2. And over here, the first, so important peaks over here, the first mountain peak that I have written is called as Mount Cotopaxi. So Mount Cotopaxi, now Mount Cotopaxi is a very active volcano. And in fact, it has erupted very recently in 2015 itself, and remains a very important volcanic peak in the Andes. Second one, what we have marked over here, is called as Mount Chimborazo. Now Mount Chimborazo is, or the peak of Mount Chimborazo is the farthest point from the center of the earth. The highest peak from the mean sea level, of course, would be the peak of Mount Everest. But the farthest point from the center of the earth, that becomes the peak of Mount Chimborazo. And that's primarily due to the oblate spheroid shape of the earth, which gives more radius nearby the equator. And you know that Ecuador, the country, is pretty much near along the equator. So these are the two mountains or two very important peaks over here. Then apart from that, I have next important peak, one lying over here. I'll mark it third. That is in Chile, and another lying over here. Okay, that is the peak. Let's mark it 4. So the third peak now, that is called as Ojos del Salado, which is in Chile, and the fourth one, that is Mount Aconcagua. So Mount Aconcagua. Now this Mount Aconcagua in Argentina, if you see, this is the highest peak in Western Hemisphere and in Southern Hemisphere. Of course, it is the highest peak of South America, but in whole of the Western Hemisphere and in whole of the Southern Hemisphere, this is the highest peak. It is an inactive volcano. On the other hand, if you talk about Ojos del Salado, Ojos del Salado is an active volcano. And in fact, Ojos del Salado is the highest active volcano in the world. Then, in addition to that, along these, told you, to the north of the 20 degrees south latitude, the Andes Mountains bifurcates into eastern and western branch. And between that are enclosed a lot of intermount plateaus, which are very high plateaus. In fact, they are world's second highest inhabited plateaus, okay, after Tibet Plateau. And in here, we have a lake which is called as Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca in Bolivia. Now, this Lake Titicaca is the highest navigable lake in the world. So these are pure general knowledge facts that we require for prelims. So in here, what are the facts that we have to know? Mount Chimborazo, the peak of Mount Chimborazo is the farthest point from the center of the earth. Similarly, Mount Aconcagua is the highest peak of Western Hemisphere as well as Southern Hemisphere. Then you have Ojos del Salado. Ojos del Salado in Chile now is the highest active volcano in the world. And then told you Lake Titicaca, which is the highest navigable lake in the world, and in fact the largest lake by volume in South America also. So this is now about Andes mountains, which we are identifying as Cordilleras of Andes. Coming to the second physiographic division now, which is the Central Lowlands. But before Central Lowlands, let's talk about the Eastern Highlands, in fact. And for Eastern Highlands now, the whole of the Eastern Highlands, I can divide it into two basic divisions. The first one over here, which are called as Guiana Highlands. So these are Guiana Highlands. And the second one, which is over here, which is called as Brazilian Highlands. So the Guiana Highlands and Brazilian Highlands. In this Brazilian Highlands, now what we see is this highland itself is divided into certain parts. This part over here now, this is a very popular name called as Mato Grosso Plateau. The locations only we have to be aware of. So this part of Brazilian highland called as Mato Grosso Plateau, And over here, this part is called as Caatingas. And this constitutes your Brazilian highland. And towards the north, you have this Guiana highlands. This is the eastern highlands of South America. Then told you after that, whole of this portion now becomes the part of central lowlands. And so now when I talk about the central lowlands can be divided into different parts. So again, now I'm marking first of all over here the Guiana highlands and the Brazilian highland. Between this over here, this part of the central highlands, this is known as Llanos. Llanos. Or based on a river over here which flows in this part, you can call this as Orinoco Basin. So part that is Llanos, or you can identify it as based on river system, Orinoco Basin. This Orinoco Basin is separated from the second part of the central lowlands, which is Amazon Basin, by the Guiana highlands. So you can see the part that is the Orinoco Basin and Amazon Basin, these two separated by this part, which is the Guiana highlands, which is a part of eastern highlands. And then I have the third part over here, which goes as Paraguay or River Plate Basin. That's the third part of central lowlands of South America. The Orinoco Basin first, second Amazon Basin separated from Orinoco Basin by Guiana highlands, and then towards the south I have this Paraguay Basin or River Plate Basin. These are the three parts of central lowlands. And then comes the fourth physiographic division, which is actually a division of Latin America. Okay, not the part of South America, but Latin America as a whole, which we can identify as the Central American mountains. So for Central American mountains, what I see is towards the west, we have this mountain system that is Sierra Madre Occidental. Yes, towards the west. And towards the east, I have this mountain, which is Sierra Madre Oriental. So between the Sierra Madre Occidental and Sierra Madre Occidental is the crisscross chain of a very complex chain of a mountain system, mountains. And over here in this case, so one important peak is Mount Orizaba. So Mount Orizaba, which is also called as Setlapelt, this mountain is the highest mountain in Mexico, and more so over now it is the third highest peak of North America. Again repeating, in this division, yes, this becomes a part of Latin America, but if I go by continents, this whole portion of Mexico, okay, would lie in the North America continent. So Mount Orizaba is the third highest peak of the continent, that is North America. The first two being what? So the highest peak of North America, that is Denali. The second highest peak of North America, that is Mount Logan in Canada. And after that, the third highest peak becomes Mount Orizaba. So this is the fourth physiographic division of Latin America, which becomes now a part of North America, which is Central American mountains and plateaus. Yes, so these are the four physiographic divisions of Latin America and few facts, important facts about them. After this, the next that we move to is the drainage system of the continent. And the drainage system of the continent, we majorly divide all of the region into three drainage basins. Now, what are these three drainage basins? The first drainage basin that you see, or the river system, is the Amazon River system. And Amazon River system, in the map, you can see the Amazon River over here. And with this, the whole Amazon River system covering this whole part. That becomes the Amazon River system. The second one, which is Paraguay-Parana River system. So you see over here the Parana River, we see over here Paraguay River, and this whole part constitutes what we identify as the Paraguay-Parana River system. The second one, this remains the first. And the third river system is the Orinoco River system. And Orinoco River system, you can see towards the north of South America. This one is the Orinoco River system, okay, covering roughly the parts of Colombia and Venezuela. These are the three major river systems of the continent. Now, in this, first, when I talk about the Amazon River system. So Amazon River system, Amazon River arises somewhere from Peru and flows through Colombia and Brazil, finally draining into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the Amazon River system, Amazon River itself is the largest river in the world in terms of volume discharge of water. Largest river in the world, or largest river system also in the world, that is Amazon River system. And this whole Amazon River basin that I am identifying with the Amazon River system, the Amazon River basin with all its tributaries. Now, this is the region, if you see Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, this is the region from where equator is passing. So with this Amazon River system or Amazon River basin is completely covered by the equatorial rainforests over here. And these equatorial rainforests of Amazon River basin, they are known by different names like Amazon rainforest, or they are also called as selvas. So Amazon rainforests or selvas. Now these are very dense and very luxurious rainforests, and the Amazon rainforests or selvas now have more than 1/3 of the total number of species in the world, and so it's known for its biodiversity. Very, very high biodiversity. In fact, one of the highest biodiversities in the world, that is the Amazon rainforest. That's the first river system, Amazon River system. After that comes the Paraguay-Parana River system. Now, if I mark over here the Paraguay-Parana River system, you see the river Parana over here and river Paraguay over here. Both of the rivers originate in Brazil. After that, this river is joined by the river that is Uruguay. These are the three main river systems over here, main rivers of this river system: the Parana River, the Paraguay River, and the Uruguay River. Now, in this, there are a number of very important formations. So the first one that you see over here is this dam, which is Itaipu Dam. Now, the Itaipu Dam, located over here, this Itaipu Dam is world's second largest dam in terms of hydroelectricity generation. Second largest dam in the world in terms of hydroelectric power generation, that is Itaipu Dam on Parana River. Now, it is, you can see, at the borders of, on one side Brazil, on another side Bolivia. Oh, sorry, on one side Brazil, another side Paraguay, and it is located at the borders over there. Second largest dam in the world. The first largest, when we identify again in terms of hydroelectric power generation, that is Three Gorges Dam in China. So So Three Gorges Dam in China, the largest dam, hydroelectric power dam in the world, followed by Itaipu Dam on Parana River. The second fact about this, if we see over here, is with this Itaipu Dam, just prior to this, on this part, there where I am saying a set of dam or waterfall called as Guera Falls. Now this Guera Falls again on Parana River, these were a series of waterfalls, and these were considered to be one of the largest waterfall system in the world. These where I am saying. Now why we are using the term where? Because when Itaipu Dam was constructed over here, the reservoir of Itaipu Dam, it completely destroyed these series of falls. So now these falls do not exist. But earlier, yes, the Guera Falls were there as the largest system of waterfalls in the world. Then another fact, that is Iguazu Falls. Now Iguazu Falls is on Iguazu River, which is again a tributary of Parana River. And the Iguazu Falls now, again a series of waterfalls, and now the Iguazu Falls collectively forms the largest waterfall system in the world. Mind it, earlier it was Guera Falls, okay, but now it has been destroyed due to the reservoir of Itaipu Dam. And then you have the Iguazu Falls, which are now the largest waterfall system in the world, which is spread over Brazil and Argentina. So this becomes the Paraguay-Parana drainage system. Then comes the third river system, which is the Orinoco River system. And Orinoco River system, if you see, it is spread, mainly it is in Venezuela, and a part of it lies in Colombia. So majorly it is spread over Colombia and Venezuela. And in this, there is this waterfall, a very important waterfall called as Angel Fall. Angel Falls. Now these Angel Falls on a tributary, a minor tributary of river Orinoco. This Angel Fall is the highest waterfall in the world. Okay, with a single drop of 949 meters. This is the highest waterfall in the world, the Angel Falls. So these are the drainage systems, the ideas, the facts about the river systems of South America. Then further now, moving from here, let's talk a little bit about climate and vegetation to get a geographical idea, which becomes very important from the perspective of your prelims examination. And so the first, when I talk about the climate and vegetation, South America as a continent would be spread over different climatic zones. Right there, talking from here to be the equatorial climatic zone to the temperate climatic zone over here. So in this case, about these climatic zones, so first you have the equatorial climatic zone over here, the temperate climatic zone over here. Then apart from that, in this part of central Chile, I have the Mediterranean type of climate. And the origin of Mediterranean type of climate, we understand. It's primarily due to the shifting of the pressure belts, where in one season is specifically Mediterranean type of climate. What should we mean by that? So in summers over here remain now dry. And summers remain dry because it comes under the effect of offshore trade winds. And winters here are wet because they are under the impact of onshore westerlies. So this is a typical type of Mediterranean type of climate which is found in the central Chile portion. So you have equatorial type of climate, temperate climate, you have the Mediterranean type of climate. In fact, you have desert climate also over here, which I'll tell you in a while. Now, when we talk about the climate and vegetation, the most important aspect that I have to understand are different factors which are affecting these climatic patterns. And one very important factor over here, specifically in case of South America, are the ocean currents. So ocean currents over here, which ocean currents most importantly we are talking about? So one ocean current now, which is flowing along the western coast of South America. Okay, another one we would be taking up over here. And the third one, which is a warm ocean current flowing like this. So these are the three ones over here. Let's call it 1, 2, and 3. So over here, as we all know, the first current, which is a cold current, which flows along the western coast of South America. Now, this is called as Peru or Humboldt current. The second one, again a cold current and offshoot of west wind drift, now called as Falkland current. And the third one, which is a warm current flowing along the eastern coast, this is called as Brazil current. So these are the three ocean currents that flow over here. Then along with that, the wind patterns over here. And the wind patterns primarily, which winds we are talking about? So first very important wind would be the Zonda. So Zonda is the wind now that blows from Pacific in this direction. That is one wind, that is Zonda. And another wind which is found in this region, which is called as, in fact, that's a cold wind now, called as Pampero. So we'll talk about the impacts of these winds also, but yes, first of all, we have to know the winds over here. One, that is Zonda, which blows from Pacific Ocean. Okay, and second, that is Pampero. So based on this now, if we talk about the climate and vegetation and what are the different aspects that we should be knowing over here. So the first one is selvas in terms of vegetation. And selvas, already told you, selvas is what? Selvas are equatorial rainforests, or what we also called as Amazon rainforest. So selvas are there. Apart from selvas, the next comes up, which is the Atacama Desert. Now, Atacama Desert in Chile. So Atacama Desert in Chile. Now, this is known as the driest place on the earth. Atacama Desert, driest place on the earth. And why it is the driest place on the earth? What's the reason? The main reason being the cold Humboldt current flowing along the western coast of South America. Secondly, Atacama Desert being on the western side of the trade wind zone. So the trade winds become offshore over here, which creates very dry conditions, and that causes the dryness of the Atacama Desert. So Atacama Desert, second aspect of climate. Then after that, in terms of vegetation, I have different types of grasslands that grow over here. One, equatorial rainforest. Rainforests are there. On other side, deserts are also there. But in between, I have the grasslands over here. And the grasslands, when we talk about different types of grasslands and where they are found, So in the continent of South America, you'll find both tropical grasslands as well as temperate grasslands. The tropical grasslands, first of all, when we talk about, first is Campos, and Campos is what I find as tropical grasslands in Brazil. So in Brazil, the tropical grasslands are called as Campos. Another tropical grassland now is Llanos, and Llanos now we already know. Llanos is the tropical grassland found where? In the Orinoco Basin. So in Orinoco Basin now you have Llanos, and then you have next one, that is Gran Chaco. So this is the region of Gran Chaco. So Gran Chaco is spread over Paraguay and northern Argentina. This is the temperate grassland, that is Gran Chaco. So the temperate grasslands known by the names Llanos, Campos and Gran Chaco. After that we have, moving towards the southern part of South America, I have the temperate region. And in this temperate region, in rest of the Argentina part, I have this temperate grassland now, which goes by the name which is Pampas. So Pampas now would be found here. This becomes Pampas, which are temperate grasslands. So Llanos, Campos and Gran Chaco, these are the tropical grasslands, and the Pampas being the temperate grasslands. Then after that, the next one that we have is what we identify as Patagonian desert. So I told you the desert region and all. And if we see in this map, the Patagonian desert, the Patagonia region, this is the Patagonian desert. Now about Patagonian desert, if you see Patagonian desert, the location, why is it as a desert over here? It's a Patagonian desert comes under the category of mid-latitudinal desert. Okay, because it's not a tropical desert. It's not in the tropical region. It's a mid-latitudinal desert. And the Patagonian desert, the reason, if you see, two basic and primary reasons of the existence of Patagonian deserts geographically. First of all, it's a very narrow portion of land over here, and a lot of part over here is the part that is Andes mountain. So all of this is Andes, and hence now as the Zonda blows from over here and the westerlies also blow from over here, okay, the Patagonian region falls on the leeward side of these winds. So first Patagonian desert, first reason of its existence, lying on the leeward side of Andes. And second, of course, is the presence of the ocean current, cold ocean current, which causes the desiccating effect, okay, which is known as the Falkland current. So Patagonian desert, the reason, first, leeward side of Andes, and second, the desiccating effect of Falkland current. These are the basic aspects related to the climate and vegetation of this continent, that is South America. After that, the next aspect we are talking about would be the economic aspect of this continent. And in terms of economic activities, one very important aspect is fishing. So for fishing, again, I have to understand that in the along the western coast of South America, I have this Peru current. And then this Peru current causes upwelling along these coasts. Now, due to the upwelling, what is going to happen? The upwelling of the waters from the deep oceans, they are going to bring nutrients to the surface. Due to these nutrients, there would be a dense growth of phytoplanktons. And we know wherever phytoplanktons are there in abundance, fishes also would be there in abundance. So due to the upwelling of waters along the Peru current or Humboldt current, the country that is Peru and Chile, these become very important countries for fishing. So over here, Peru and Chile, these becomes important countries for fishing. After that, next when we talk about is agriculture. And these are pure facts. We are talking about very large productions and all that we are concerned with. And so when I talk about agriculture, the first thing that comes up is wheat. Now wheat, we know wheat can be best grown under the temperate conditions. And over here in this case, what you see is in whole of the continent, very clearly it goes with the geographical conditions required. Wheat requires cold conditions, temperate conditions. And so which country should be most favorable for growing wheat? The largest wheat growing country in South America is Argentina. So Argentina known for wheat production. After that, the next one that comes up is sugarcane. And sugarcane now is a tropical crop. So sugarcane being tropical crop, the most important, in fact, sugarcane is the most important cash crop, most important cash crop of Latin America, because a lot of portion lies in the tropical zone. And over here, Latin America in total also produces more than half of the world's sugarcane production. And majority of the production of sugarcane comes from Brazil. So the sugarcane production is led by Brazil, but overall Latin America, it is the most important cash crop of Latin America, and Latin America produces almost 55% of the total global sugarcane production. And then comes coffee. Again, coffee. Latin America produces more than half of world's coffee. Almost 60% of the world coffee production takes place in South America. And in here, the countries, again, if I have to identify, Brazil is the leading producer over here. Along with that, Colombia again produces a lot of coffee. So that's the aspect related to fishing and agriculture. And finally, some basic idea about the minerals which are found over here, just to tell you the main areas that we are talking about. So the main areas that I see, the first one that is for the iron ore production. Now iron ore, why I am specifically taking up iron ore? Because iron ore, the main producer of iron ore is Brazil over here. And in Brazil, there is this region around here, which is called as Itabira region. So the name of this region is only important, Itabira region in Brazil. Now Brazil is the second largest producer of iron ore in the world. After whom? The largest producer of iron ore? Australia. So Australia is the largest producer, Brazil is the second largest producer, and the most important region of iron ore in Brazil is Itabira region. Second comes after that is copper. And with respect to copper, a very important aspect that I have to know is a town, first of all. The country that is known for copper production is Chile. And in Chile, there is a very important town called as Chuquicamata. This Chuquicamata, a very important town in copper, which is a copper mining center in Chile. Chuquicamata is known as world's largest copper mining town. So world's largest copper mining town, that is Chuquicamata. And then we have lastly petroleum. And for petroleum now, the most important regions would be the northern South America, including Venezuela, including Colombia, so including Venezuela, including Colombia, and towards Central America, the Mexico portion. In fact, Venezuela has huge reserves of petroleum. Only because of the sanctions of USA on Venezuela, its production has went down. But yet we have to know that northern South America and Mexico has good reserves of petroleum. So this is about the mineral aspect, most important in terms of world's largest, second largest, and so on. And so this is about the economic aspect of South America, or in total Latin America. So this is what was our discussion in our second video regarding Latin America, and more specifically focusing on South America. This completes our second video of the lecture series, that is World Mapping Series with me, in which now up to here we have covered Anglo America and Latin America, now completing overall Americas as the continents. So that's it from my side today. Hope we have been able to learn the basic details of the continents, which would come very handy in our examination. See you next time in the third video of this World Mapping series. Till then, everyone, take care, bye, and thank you.